Did I take your seat for you? Okay. Okay.
There we go. Yeah. A little better. Yeah.
That's good. It's really like this ruffle.
Still.
It's like 2 weeks.
What's happening? I asked her if she's taking all my voting rights. She were not those.
How are you? This is Jared here from Rainbow One Night. There's one right here for you.
I know.
It's a strategic move. And it's not sure that happened at all. But whatever. At a district level, it's something.
No.
I was trying to be I don't know. I don't know if I was thinking
In science,
yeah.
science
It's really we're under federal investigation, which hasn't
you guys.
How you doing?
It's hard to
I think we're ready to start. Are we okay to get row? Hey. Oh, okay, good. I feel like I'm shouting in the microphone, but I love it. It's great. Welcome to our council meeting today. I'm glad that you are all here. And to start, I want to welcome anyone that has come that maybe hasn't been here before. Emily Sutherland is here visiting from the district. Welcome. I have a couple little housekeeping things that I wanted to mention before we get into any public comment or any other agenda items. But I received an email from Tim Payne last week saying that he wanted to resign as a voting member of the SCC. So I just want to say thank you for your service. He said he will still participate and come to meetings, but we just want to thank him and appreciate you being here. And then another thing, as far as housekeeping items, is I've been to some district trainings about SCC and learned a lot over the last week or so. And one of the things that I learned is that we aren't allowed to have student members on the SCC as voting members. So I've already sent an email to Basie, and I know that we're also excited about having student input and students here and present in these meetings. And so I told her that we'd still like to have that happen, however that might be, whether it's an advisory committee or even just here, and she can talk in public comment or whatever it is, but that is the rule. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that. So we're glad that you're here. Yeah.
I am gonna try to get a student advisory committee put together. I was not told until this morning, the day of the SCC meeting, that I am not allowed to be here.
Sorry, I did that yesterday.
I was not told until this morning that I'm not allowed to be a voting member. I'm just allowed to be here. And I will be, so I did not have adequate time to put together a group, but I will be putting together some kind of student advisory committee to be on the board, to come to meetings.
I think we'll put something out to the student body and see who's interested, and we'll put the committee together. It's okay. Thanks.
Why are we not allowed our students to be on the board?
It's the state rules.
State
Really?
rule, it's not us.
What, I just want to know exactly what the process was that like led you to this.
There were trainings that the district put on that was also provided by the state, and it specifies in there who's on a committee. And then I called Grant at the State Board of Education and spoke with her yesterday to clarify, and she sent me all the bylaws and everything.
So you explicitly went out to clarify my ability to vote on this board?
No, just if we could add more students, because Mark had actually sent me an email yesterday asking about another student coming. So I thought I better just know what the standard practice is.
What body enforces that to make students unable to vote on the SCC? Like,
I think
It would be the state.
it is the legislature, yeah.
what repercussions would this SCC, I'm like genuinely asking, as I'm curious, would the SCC be facing if we had a voting student member?
You could be out of compliance and lose your funding. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, that's a good question.
Hey, we need students here. Okay, and the more the better. You know, they have like a tremendous amount of knowledge that we need. Okay, and so let's try to make it inviting for them to come
Absolutely.
and share their thoughts.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have any hands? No. Okay.
I have additional comment. I agree with Maloney that we do need the students' input.
Yep.
Whether they're officially voting members or not, they can still make a difference and have an influence.
Absolutely. I agree 100%.
I have a question for you, Pam. So are you forbidding Basie to form a group of students to attend as non-voting members?
I'm just saying that's not her role.
Are you forbidding her from doing it?
Forbidding is a strong word. No, I'm not forbidding. But I am saying that I would like
Would you
to
allow
get-
her to form a committee of students?
Basie, do you know everyone in the school?
No,
I just asked
could,
one question.
I could get a message out there though. I'm just saying I would like, as a student member, I feel like I could network that a bit better than what admin's reach of the student body and the people that would come to that call.
Okay, thanks. Well,
I think it's the role of the chair. Erin's the chair of SCC, and it's probably her role to coordinate with the administration.
But it
have a
sounds to me
broader
like,
outreach.
Pam is discouraging. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I would like you to know where she stands. Pam, I'm asking you a question.
I answered the question.
And that has.
No,
said
you
that
asked
we
another
go-
question.
But I have a comment.
I just wanted to add to that, my understanding was that the purpose of my being here as a student gov advisor was to actually bring in student input. And so, I think that's something we could work through student council with, because we have lots of students who do know a lot of the students in the school. And then we can make sure we have that reach. However, I would just need to know, what am I getting input in, right? What am I bringing to? Because that's a role I haven't really been asked to do formally yet, but my understanding was that was the purpose I'm here, because I'm actually not a voting member either, not here. I just come with student input, but I haven't been asked what input to bring. So that's just my 2 cents. It's not really about that, but it is also about.
No, I think that's super helpful. Maybe what we could do is meet aside from this meeting and talk more specifically about how we could get students involved, either in advisory committee with student gov.
I just know that there are students that want to be, like Hannah back there showed up to the meetings, not as a member at all. Like there are students in this school that want to be involved that I know I'm on SCC, that want to be involved. And I feel like it would be, I don't know if disingenuous is the right word, for admin to try to have that reach when I know the people and the people have come to me asking to be part of change happening at the school. And I think I could do it, and I'd be willing to have that conversation. I just think it's maybe out of line to say, oh, you can't make that committee, that's admin's job.
Well, Lacey, I don't think anyone's excluding you, but it's.
Well, I can't vote.
Well,
but that's not Erin's fault.
I
Yeah,
think
yeah, I
Erin
know.
and Pam are happy to include you in doing that, but it would be inappropriate to exclude the school principal from that process and the SCC chair. So I'll let Erin take over, but I don't think we're breaking a bigger deal.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think my understanding is that any student can attend any SCC meeting, period, right?
Yeah.
So I don't see, aside from making sure that people understand that, I don't see any value to channeling it through one particular student or group of students. I mean, it's an open process, right? So I don't think anyone's in opposition to it. It's just, it seems strange to funnel it through 1 or 2 people. That's all I'm saying. It's an open invitation.
If anything, the SCC has been, students don't know about it. Students don't know it exists. Like I've made jokes about being on the SCC, talk to people about it, and they ask me what it is. Like if students are allowed to come to every meeting, if students are even encouraged, like they don't know they can. So if it's an issue of that, then I think that the school should be advertising it like crazy, because I think we need the students, I mean, for lack of a better word, or like the clientele here. They're the people that this board is meant to serve. They're the people that the district is meant to serve, or the students.
So basically, I think
And I think more students should be here than parents even just observing. Like, and I think that
maybe
needs
it's
to
about
be.
messaging. Maybe we should do a better job advertising it
Yeah.
to students and welcoming them and letting them know that they're welcome here, that their input matters and that we want them here. But maybe we can talk more after this, and
Mhm.
is that okay?
Yeah, I would love to.
Sounds great. Okay, let's move on. Did we have any public comment, Natalie, on that? Okay, we'll continue then with the agenda. Okay, so first we need to talk about the minutes from last month. Do we have a motion to approve? I know that we had some questions, Annie.
Oh, I'm not making a motion to approve them. I think it's approved. I have an addendum, excuse me, to the minutes. I have a hard time with the attendance policy, and I want to really make clear, because the SEC minutes are published, and I want to make clear my name off of any compliance or complicity with that attendance policy. I think it's unfair. And so I added a one statement that I believe was emailed to all of the voting members that everybody included in the minutes that says that it's an unfair policy, and I do not approve of it.
But at least one person can approve it.
Can you clarify what sentence you want added in to the minutes? And I think it's not an addendum, but you're just saying an amendment to the minutes, right? So just so it's easy for Natalie to know what you want.
The sentence is, Annie Payne is unhappy with the attendance policy as she feels it is very damaging to many students at East, the economically disadvantaged students in particular. Because currently it just says under the attendance policy minutes, there's just a bullet point that says there have been no negative repercussions. And if the SCC in its entirety signs off on that, she would like to be excluded from the body that believes it has no negative repercussions.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as they stand. There was no discussion, that wasn't discussed, that was not part of the minutes. I think there's another place to do that. But minutes, again, we have rules that we have to follow in order to be able to have the say that we have with the land trust monies and to function the way we're supposed to. You cannot recreate history. The minutes are what they are. If that's a discussion that needs to be had and added into the minutes of this meeting, fine, but I move to accept the minutes as they stand.
I just add that you can also just record the vote. You can say it was like, 20 to 5 or something like that. Just make it clear that it was.
I just sent out the amendment to the board to see if we could approve it this time around. If not, you'll see it again.
And I don't,
Out that meeting, so it should.
So Erin, what you may want to do is entertain a second on Annie's motion and there was handle that motion and then you can do the motion. I think she made, well, she said amendment, but she mentioned a motion to amend. Did you make a motion?
She said she would not make the motion.
I said I'm not making a motion to approve the minutes as they are written.
Okay.
So we only have one
So we need
motion
to
on the
see it.
table.
Okay, so does anyone want to second Becky's motion to accept the minutes as they are? That means the minutes are then approved, but we need to know.
Well, now we do it.
Okay, now we vote. Okay, so let's vote.
Wait, hold on a second. So someone wrote something in the
The-
minutes that was
the
negative?
minutes say, as they stand, something along the lines of the attendance policy does not have any negative repercussions.
It did say that on the minutes, it did
A-
say that
and-
there were.
It's just, we don't want, my mom particularly doesn't want her name or the SCC's name to be attached to a statement that says the
So
SCC
Annie, you can
doesn't
make a
harm,
motion.
that says that the attendance policy doesn't harm students. That's,
Sure.
There's a motion
But
already.
we'll we have this
So
motion
let's vote on this
first.
motion first. Okay, so we need to vote to approve the minutes. Yeah, raise your hand. I guess.
Raise your
It's
hand.
easier if it's raised on favor of.
Oh,
In favor of.
hold on a second. So you want this wiped out?
I would like we either have to follow Robert. Thank you. Is this on? Yeah.
that's
it is. Follow Robert's rules of order. I would like to let the motion currently on the table fail and then introduce a new motion to accept the minutes with my additional statement that says I disagree with the attendance policy.
it is,
So the motion, so if this motion fails, then you can make that.
Wait, so can we vote and then they can amend
I
and
just,
put a,
can I just,
If it fails.
can I
It
just,
fails, but
oh, okay, all right, okay.
Okay, so raise your hand if you'd like to approve the minutes as they stand that Natalie sent out. Can you abstain from voting if you weren't here?
Yes,
Or
absolutely. You can abstain if you were.
I wasn't here.
If you are here.
I will abstain.
I can't.
Okay, so we have 15 votes for yes. Which is a majority. So then, does that mean that they?
That's-
It might be good to know what the name.
Okay, okay, we raise our hand if it's a name.
I just,
Perhaps we have the minutes for today reflect her.
Absolutely, yeah.
Her wishes.
Absolutely. So either both. I know, I wrote down. And then what, if you want to make note of that? Yeah. And then, would you like to say something you would like to
Yes,
be?
may I have a
included in
mic? Can I have a microphone? Because I've been looking through the Zoom from last month and you can't hear at all. I seriously poured over the last 2 hours and I can't hear a word. Do you have my?
I have the statement pulled up here.
I'm so sorry, you guys, I have the worst vision. I am unhappy with the attendance policy as I feel it's very damaging to many students at East High, the economically disadvantaged students in particular.
What does that mean?
Well, Pam and I had a lengthy discussion about the economics of kids here, and I am not allowed to call them any longer poor kids, but I believe that the attendance policy, as it is right now, hurts poor kids at a much higher rate than it does the stable economy kids or the upper income.
But why does it affect them?
We have a lot of statistical data concerning who is late for school and who is absent from school. Economically disadvantaged students are late more frequently and they're absent more frequently. And we actually know the percentages.
But what does that have to do with the attendance policy?
It punishes the kids who
It
don't make it to
punishes
class.
But if they,
That's the problem.
if they're late and they get an excusal or whatever, like
It's
any
not
other
allowed
student.
to be excused.
Okay, we have a comment back here.
Lates are not allowed to be excused under the attendance.
I'm really here just as an observer. For those that don't know me, my name is Dr. Wilson Taylor. I'm the chief officer for school leadership and performance. That means I supervise individuals, supervise the principals. You made a very interesting point in the very beginning. You clarified that you're following Robert's rules. And if you're following Robert's rules for parliamentary procedure, that means even when it's comfortable and when it's not comfortable, you still have to abide by those rules. You have an agenda that's printed. You gotta follow that agenda. That's how your minutes have been reflected. You got some very interesting discussions, but there are appropriate times for them in accordance with your agenda. Mike, do you have a parliamentarian? You might.
I know. And I have lots of friends. But not officially the partner.
There might be a role that you want to participate in support of your SCC, because otherwise things become personal when they should remain objective and impersonal. And it makes the appearance of arguments take place. And you're all caring adults. You're all loving adults. And the kids here are here because they want to see positive change for the school. We don't want to get caught in a contest of personalities and wheels when we can be productive in what we're doing. That's how people end up not wanting to participate. My mentor's words. We want to create winners and winners, not winners and losers. And when you have contests of wheels, you create losers. And we don't want that to take place. Or am I reflecting that wrong? I'm just here as an observer. I'll sit here and be quiet. But I noticed that feeling, let me say it that way, that feeling of tension. And it shouldn't be that in these SCC meetings. All these meetings should be productive. As the chair, most comments should be made to even not directly to individuals, because then, hey, you're questioning me and I feel personal about this. I feel like you might be attacking.
Yeah.
So there's some things that we can practice, and I hope that we're willing to practice those things and still be productive in getting out our opinions, getting out what we need to get to move the school forward. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
You carried a motion. A motion has been carried. It should be recorded in the minutes, the yeas and the nays. You can do numbers, and if it's close, you can do call a vote, which means individuals will be recognized by your role. to do it. Let's do it. We should be moving on to the next piece of it, which is the fundraising request. And after the fundraising request, we have an SEC discussion. So you're gonna talk about the road. Is in order.
Yes, yes, I like it, I like it, okay. No, this is really helpful. Okay, so in looking at our vote, we had 15 yes, 3 nays, that's recorded. So then, I suppose we move on to our next. Okay, so the minutes are then approved. Okay. Fundraiser request. We do have kind of a handful of these, so I will quickly go through. I emailed them to you guys today. I did get them today, so I emailed them to you. If you didn't have a chance to look, I made a brief note about each one, and then Jen Campbell is here, and she can kind of clarify any questions, and she also has a couple that we need to add to this list. That kind of sense. So there's a basketball one that is selling ice melt. They're expecting to get $5,000 to $7,000 on that. There was a second basketball. A second basketball one, which Jen, I was not clear about what that was. Was that asking for just individual donations? It looked like it said emails. I couldn't
Snap
raise.
Snap
Snap raise. Oh, okay, I just didn't read that.
So it is emails for dollars.
Okay, snap raise. Okay, I couldn't read that. Okay, that's the second basketball one. There wasn't a dollar amount given as far as expected.
He said 5,000 to 7,500.
Yeah, I don't think on that second one.
Sorry.
Okay,
You're right. That's what I did.
okay, I said no thing.
I do have an email for you.
I'll move on to no question. Dance crew and dance company, they're wanting to do their little leopards that they do at the basketball game, the game in January. They're hoping to make $1,500 from that. And then we have the candygrams for Christmas. This was from the Stark and Bullis classrooms, and they're hoping to make $100 on that fundraiser. A third basketball fundraiser. This was TV ads and banner sales. We're hoping to make $10,500 on that. And that's all. That,
Oh, he didn't give me a dollar amount for the snap raise. Yeah, there's not enough.
okay.
The sky's the limit on that second.
Well, is that how it works? No, I know we know other people that know.
We'll give him your email.
Okay.
So just speaking to the snap raise, I know it's not the most popular fundraiser, but it is a very easy way for them to raise money. He wanted me to mention that to you, and we realized there's a percentage taken off the top.
It's still 20%.
Yes, ma'am.
And quick question, aren't they allowed to only do a certain number of fundraisers?
Three a year.
Was
So
that-
the basketball team has already started.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're-
Just want to make sure I can remember the number. Thank you. Okay. And then Jen also had a few that were not
Yeah.
submitted.
I had 2 more for the girls basketball. Sorry. I mentioned to him that these would still have to go through SIC. He handed them to me today. One is doing concessions up at the University of Utah. And that is projected profit of $3,000. The other one is the plate sale. I'm not sure if that's at their games. He didn't specify, but they're hoping to raise $3,500. I can get some more details on that if you want before you approve it. It's food. And then the other one I had, SIC looked at it, but they didn't give final approval, was a choir one, because he wanted to make some amendments to what they were gonna use the money for, but it's a C's Candies fundraiser. Well, I will tell you, that's one that is, they get a good amount of money back to them without having to expend as much on as you do in others.
And you're telling me the SIC hasn't approved that because he did email that out about what he's gonna use it for.
Yeah, they have not approved it because when he initially submitted it, it had a very narrow focus. And I just made him aware that narrow focus, it has to be for that purpose.
And so he added some things that he had intended to use it for,
Okay.
to make sure that they could use the money for that.
But there's not a specified order of approval, right?
That I was just gonna ask them.
Yeah, SCC approved first, and then as long as it's approved by both, it's okay.
Right, it just has to be approved by both, and actually they have to go to Emily after we approve them anyway, so if there's any misstep along the way, she'll send it back to us.
And I have a list of what the choir wants to cover. Oh,
He does.
Okay.
Does, part of it is for the program, they are trying to take their trip to New York that has already been approved. They wanna help pay for commissions, choir uniforms, sheet music, and other choir activities.
I make a motion to approve the fundraiser requests as stated.
Second.
I have a question. Can we discuss before that second?
Well, the second can happen and then
Thank
you
you.
can open for discussion.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
Second half.
Second half.
Second is the count. It goes back to the person who made the motion to describe why they want to approve it, and then people can ask questions. If you want to, you can
I'll pass.
Sometimes people want to explain with your motion, you just make the motion. It makes it shorter because you don't get a second.
Thank you, ma'am. Two questions. One, so is that 4 fundraisers for basketball? We had 2 and 2 came in?
One
for
for
girls. One, okay.
It wasn't one for girls? Yeah, one's girls.
Two
Thank
are
you.
for girls,
Two
3
for
are
girls.
for boys.
Perfect.
And girls had one other one already, so they're also.
And my other question is on the ice melt, what percentage is basketball getting? What's the percentages on that? You know?
I can speak to that.
Oh, thank you.
There's a very, the cost is $4.04 per bag. They're gonna charge probably $25 a bag. So after paying off the $4.04 a bag, it'll be all profit to the program.
Great, thank you, sir. That's all my questions.
Okay, any other questions? Okay.
Not familiar with snap raise.
What it is
I'm hesitant.
No,
Do you remember, who was here last year, because we talked about this.
Oh, my
Yeah,
God.
I must have been.
I support it.
basically they,
Tell it crazy with you, though.
the athletes send emails to friends and family, and then they can make a donation, and, we've had programs make upwards of $10,000 on that.
It's really effective.
Why
Who
is your
is?
Salt Lake, or, yeah, the foundation, why can't they?
Serious, that's.
I think they have that as an option, that's
Yeah.
probably something that.
I just
Emily-
approved one of these at West today and had to ask some questions, and SLEP runs Snap Raise. So like, I mean, they run it for our district, so like it's at least a Snap Raise is a platform that's like approved and kind of run through our Ed Foundation.
So it'd be the same thing if the foundation ran it.
The percentage is big difference.
Yeah, I don't know that part, I just know that Snap Raise is at least one that is that our Ed Foundation is like aware of and working on.
But I wish the foundation created its own platform.
100%.
Yeah.
And it's like giving money, like.
For years and years, that has been a bone of contention, that percentage. SCC wouldn't allow it for an awfully long time. During the COVID years, we didn't want kids out. So SCC at that point approved it for that time, conditionally, thank you, that's what I was, conditionally. But it's always been a bone of contention with the percentage that they take.
Well, and then, because people have tried to use the foundation for their fundraising and they've had a hard time being successful. But if you were gonna give to the team and you said, you know what, I don't wanna give 20%, they should have, or you can find the link to the foundation's giving site and you can pick in the drop-down menu. You can pick the team you wanna give your
It's on
funds
the
to, and
It's from the
It's
school
easy.
website, like you can
Right.
go to Eastside website and find where you can tell the donations.
so why don't we just send out emails with that, like.
Because
I guess this is
really
really
like
like
Snap
Snap
Raise,
Raise,
yeah.
because they do all the work.
And they do marketing, like they'll do a video of the team and they'll say, this is what we're doing. So it does make it a little quicker and more.
There is a
So
service.
I think they improved it last year with the statement that we put on their documents.
Yes,
like
that's what I
their
remember.
franchise, Or you can go to the school
Right.
and so they have another option.
The option has a 20%
Cost to every fundraiser really, I mean, C's chocolates, you got a cost to buy the chocolate.
There is, yeah.
Ice
every
melt, you
fundraiser.
got a cost to buy the ice melt. It's probably not too far off from snap raising. It's all said and done.
It sounds like there's a service instead of a good, like
But there
seeds
is.
you're getting a good, but ice not you're
There
getting a
is a
service.
service.
You're getting a service. Okay, thank you. I apologize for that.
No,
I got it right.
I just wanted to add one more really quick clarification as someone who's worked with both. I just want to clarify that donating directly on the East website does come more directly to us than donating on the foundation website. There's a process where you have to then, they get the money and then you access it from them. So there's like a larger turnover time when we get it through the foundation at this point. And if it's directly on the East website, it's faster. So those are not synonymous.
Yes, Sarah, regarding, like, if you're asking for donations, how do you do that? When you're asking for donations, how do you do that if you wanna get it through the school and not through the foundation? Like, we can go to the website.
Well, and you can always, as I understand it, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, because it happens sometimes. Is you can always come to the school and say, I want to make a donation to this program. You just bring it to Kim, the treasurer, and tell her this is for this program. And I'm making a donation. They can do the same. They just write a check. And I will say though, in terms of your company, they may require it to go through the foundation, because I've done that sometimes in the past. And they just send it directly to the foundation, and then again, the drop-down menu, label it East High School, whatever program you want it to go to.
Okay. Okay, can we go on this? Can we vote on fundraisers as they stand?
What was that? Okay.
Okay, is there anyone, any opposed to that? Okay. Good. Okay, this is my portion. I will be really fast about this. But as I mentioned earlier in the meeting, I did learn a few things from a training meeting that was provided by the district, also provided by the state. And then I also called Paula Plant yesterday and spoke with her to clarify a few things as well. So in all of the training that was there were a lot of slides and there was a lot of information, but I just narrowed it down to 5 slides that kind of apply to what our roles are as a school community council, okay? Just as a review, I'm sure you all probably know, I think it's great to have a little reminder every now and again, and maybe this is new to some of us, so hopefully it's helpful. Okay, this is super old school, and I should have texted them emailed them to Pam to show, but I feel like I'm more comfortable with paper and pen. So here we are. Okay, what are school community councils? And the School Community and Trust Plan Council. It is a committee of parents, teachers, and school leaders. Your locally elected parent representatives and parent chair, and we meet throughout the school year to discuss and advise on issues specific to the local school, and this is required by law. Every school is. I stand up.
You're good.
Okay, council responsibilities. So, first we need to adopt rules of order and procedures and bylaws, which we have done a good job of, I feel like. To this point, that first month we talked about parliamentary procedure, which I'm glad. Will you be our parliamentarian from Canada? Okay, I'm gonna make a motion. I'm gonna make a motion at the end of this, but that would be hugely helpful to me, especially. We advise and make recommendations on the school and its programs, school district or charter programs, child activity. This is for elementary schools. It's safe walking routes. But student safety, including safe technology usage, and then other issues relating to the community environment for students, as well as the school land trust plan, which is a big part of what we do. And we'll talk more about that going forward. In the months ahead, probably end of winter, early spring, I'm going to just put these ideas in your head because I know that people can be thinking about things that they would like to include in that. So the creation of the annual school land trust plan. First, when we do this, we'll review data. Where are students currently and how are they performing? So in all of these meetings that we have, Pam provides data for us. We'll get data from the different people, and that should all be included in our plan or in, thinking about that plan. Number 2, we determine the greatest academic need. What area is most in need of focus? Number 3, we'll create a goal. Where would we like our students to be in 1 year? Number 4, we'll decide what we need. What resources will you need to achieve that goal? And then as we're thinking about things we'd like to have in that plan, these are the appropriate academic areas. First consideration for secondary schools. First, college and career readiness. Then it was graduation rate. And then mathematics, science, English, and language arts. So that's what's recommended by the district. And so anyway, I don't know if that was at all helpful, but I just kind of wanted to give that quick overview. Do you guys have any questions? I don't know if I'll be able to answer everything, but any questions or thoughts on that? Okay. If not, I'm gonna move us along the agenda because I feel like we're doing okay. I felt really bad that last month we went long, and so some people that were at the bottom of the agenda didn't get to say what they wanted to say before we needed to dismiss. And so I kind of reversed the order a little bit. So we will have the student government report from Lynette first. And then she is also the committee chair on the cell phone policy. And so she'll also give us an update on that.
Okay, for our student government update, we had, in the last time since I've seen you, it's been a minute, we had our Halloween dance, our Monster Mash. Unfortunately, it was shut down early due to moshing. And I would just like to say, as someone who witnessed the moshing, I've never seen it like that. And our DJ, who DJs dances at many schools, also said he has actually not seen that level of disrespect at any of the other schools. He DJs that, so it was pretty bad. And it was very mobile moshing. I call it a tornado. So that people who were not choosing to be in the mosh pit didn't really have a choice sometimes. And there was also a lot of disrespect to the admin who were trying to get it to stop. So we have some pretty big concerns about that. We've been talking about in student gov, kind of discussing that. We'll continue to do that. We're going to make some changes for our next dance. Our next dance is Winters, December 9th. The PTA is so cool. They're giving us cookies. So we're hoping that brings some more kids. We have an attendance goal. I'm trying to do a lot more data collection this year. Our attendance at Halloween was about 275. Our attendance goal for Winters is actually 400. So we're trying to get a lot more kids there. We're really excited. We're going to have a game room as well to try to get more kids and lots of different kinds of kids there. And so that's what we're working to do.
I was curious, do you know the attendance at
Homecoming, we were not able to get firm numbers on. I'm pretty sure it was somewhere between 400 and 500 though. Probably closer to 500. Yeah, we had really good attendance. And actually we had a better attendance in Monster Mash than I expected. It's sometimes on the lower attended dances. So that is what we're working on there. We also have multicultural assembly coming up. We have auditions tomorrow and the next day, as well as one after Thanksgiving break. And we actually have most of our audition slots filled. So we already have a lot of kids who are excited about it. We're adding a fashion show, which we did last year, which the kids are also excited about. So those are the big things we're working on. And then that we're talking about in class. Are there any student gov? Oh, and Senate is doing a coat drive right now as well. And they're having each grade donate to different bins, and then they get spirit bins. Any student council questions?
Well, now, will you remind me where the Winters dance is going to be?
Yeah, it's gonna be in the small gym.
The small
So all school dances at this point will be in the small gym if they're at the school. At least at this point. Yeah, it has more room. We did that specifically for kids who wanted to mosh in one place to be able to have a little bit more room, so it was safe for everybody. And it has helped. Yes. Any other questions? Yeah.
How many parent chaperones were there compared to other dances?
So it is hard to get parent chaperones to non-homecoming and prom dances. And we had 2 on the floor. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guarding entrances. And then I had about 4 faculty. But unfortunately at this point, if I only have 4 faculty, I need them all at the check-in area. Because our check-in process takes a little bit of time, and that is not something I want parents to have to do, is deal with the attitudes of kids at the beginning of the dance. And so we will be getting more teachers on the dance floor this time. in addition to, I'm hoping for more parents who know the students in the dance more. Because our parents who were there didn't necessarily know all of the kids there, or very many of the kids there. So we need more parents on the floor who know our students who are at the dances, in addition to having more faculty on the floor. So I'm gonna need to have more of both kinds of chaperones. Yeah.
And I think we should do I think there are parents that will go if we figure out ways to get that out, because I think a
Agreed.
PTSA sign up genius 3 nights before is not the most effective way to
Absolutely.
get parents, because we were all part of that. And I think that it gets a little tricky, you know, a couple nights before, and you probably have something to piggyback on, but I think that will matter in a big way.
Oh, 100%. And I'm actually planning on putting in something for the weekly newsletter this week, specifically asking for chaperones and putting a sign up there for the parent newsletter, and then reaching out to PTA within the
Shannon,
week.
you may have something.
So yeah,
Well, I know we talked about it at the PTA meeting, and I know that we have 6 parents now who have.
we have 6 parents now. So awesome.
Do you think you need more than that? What's your ideal?
Are they couples or parents?
We've got 3 couples, 6 parents. So I would say, my ideal number, if Winters looks like Halloween with the same number of kids and the same level of moshing and disrespect, I would want, probably at least 4 to 5 parents who know those kids in the room, plus 3 faculty who know the kids in the room on top of our admin who are rotating it out. That'd be my deal. And that's just on the dance floor. I still need parents guarding all the entrances, or chaperone, somebody, adults guarding the entrances, stopping kids from going to other parts of the building, in addition to the people, whether they're parents or checking.
So do you know how many faculty members you have right now?
Signed up. 3 confirmed.
Okay, and so, and then you have 6 parents, so do you need more adults in that? Do you feel like?
I definitely need more teachers, and I would probably want 2 to 3 more parents. Not great at math on the fly, so I would need to sit down. But yeah, but I do have it in my plan to, right now, to really map out exactly how many I need with all this information, and specifically reach out to PJ within the next week instead of before, which I know last time it was.
No, it was
super.
great, but you need big, I mean, I'm just thinking like when my son was a senior here years ago, and he was involved in student government, and there were at least 14 to 16 parents. I mean, those are the numbers you should shoot for. I think COVID kind of pulls everything back and people are, I think that 6 is not even enough. I think you should shoot for more. I know it's hard, but.
Oh, I'd love to shoot. Give me big goals.
Well, I didn't think the problem if you had more than you needed.
No.
I've never been
Oh,
upset
yeah.
when I have gone somewhere and they're like, we don't need you, you can go home. I was happy to be there if they needed me, but if they don't, I'm not,
Oh,
upset if
yeah.
I get sent home. So it'd be better to try and have more, and then if you
Yes.
don't need to send them home.
Can I volunteer
Yes.
for Juanita?
Please, I'll put you down. Your son will be so excited.
Gets to be in the middle.
I will say, your son very specifically, when the mosh pit started in one of its worst iterations, he like had his hands up, stepped back and looked at me. He's like, I'm not in this. He was not in it. So, for sure. A little threatening for everyone. Right. Anyway, so that is, are there any other questions? This was really helpful. Okay. Cell phone. Okay, so I had a small committee of 4 faculty members, 3 plus me, who gathered some data from teachers in addition to looking at several different policies, comparing the SCC proposed policy with the district policy. And we found some things about the SCC proposed policy that we think fit. Oh, yes. Is it not on the agenda?
No, it's on the agenda, but could I ask for a point of clarity? Keep in mind, there's only one agency within the district that develops policy, and that's the school board itself. Everything else we do is a procedure, and that would kind of avoid some confusion for you. when you roll this out. This is a cell phone procedure, not a policy.
Perfect. And actually, that's a great point. First of all, because I didn't know it, and also because what we realized is that the only clarity, the clarity that would be best for our school based on the data that we saw would be clarity in procedure of what happens with cell phone misuse and headphone misuse, personal, both of those devices. So based on that data, we could see that there are a number of teachers who would appreciate some more structure in the procedure and some more support outside of their classroom. We also have a significant number of teachers who are definitely not willing to go the mile of teachers. Well, there's a couple of things. In the SCC proposed procedure, the name one thing. In the SCC proposed procedure, there was specifically a section that said that teachers may not ask students to use their cell phone, which first of all was actually contradicted at a different part in that procedure. And second of all, is going farther than the district procedure. And third of all, would definitely not get faculty support. And everybody I talked to that had strict cell phone procedures at their schools, iterated repeatedly that without faculty buy-in, it would never have worked. And so unfortunately, that line is never gonna work for our school at this point, based on the data that we pulled and the people and the information we have. So that part, I'll just tell you right now, it's not gonna work for sure. However, it is clear that having a more clear procedure on what happens with cell phone misuse is something that teachers would like and many teachers would welcome in their classrooms. So that's where we are. We're still kind of tweaking, and I haven't talked to SIC about this as well. I haven't been able to have a good discussion with admin about this as well. So I don't feel comfortable going in a ton of detail because those are both bodies that are going to work with this procedure in a really intense way, and I'd like their input before I really am able to bring the details of it to you, if that makes sense. That's where I am. Do you have questions? Yeah.
So I thank you for all of the work that you've done on this in the SIC. Let me just make sure I understand. Teachers want more structure around cell phone use in the classroom, but they want to retain the right to ask students to use the phone when they deem appropriate.
Yes, that cell phone misuse is something we would like structure around, that many teachers would like structure around.
Can you define misuse?
Meaning a student using it when they are not supposed to be using it, unless a teacher has directed them to take it out, which is specific in the district policy. And the district policy says that students may not use personal electronic devices unless directed to by a teacher, right? And so that going farther than that is something that isn't going to work for our school based on what we know, and also is not like consistent with the district policy as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I'm wondering, since I have mixed feelings about this, and I would love to have no cell phones in school. So that's kind of where I stand. But I also have a daughter who's been asked to fill free time with her phone, when she's had downtime, which I don't feel is appropriate. Is there a way to clarify that the only time a teacher can ask them to use it is for curricular reasons is one thing. And then second of all, does every student have a phone? So when a teacher says, please pull out your phone, every student has one, and there's equity across that.
So I would say to the first point of whether whether that can be put on teachers, I would say that would be a decision made in a different place. Whether teachers are not to allow students to use their phones for a non-academic reason. I would not think that would be a decision that could be made here. And based on SIC, I don't know, I shouldn't speak to that. I don't know enough about any of that. As for the second one, that's a great question. I can honestly say as a teacher in my 10 years and in the last few years here, I have had one who didn't have a phone. But I'm not saying that means that all kids have phones, for sure. But that is a good question, but it is, I don't believe we are going to be capable of making that change for a number of reasons by putting that stipulation on teachers.
One thing I would clarify is you may see that students have a phone, but that doesn't mean that the capabilities of their phones are all the same. And that a parent should feel like they have to allow internet access on that phone in order for that student to not have a disadvantage in the classroom. I am having trouble pulling up the district policy, but maybe this is something where we need to go to the school board and say, this is something we need to address district-wide, because, I mean, I have different opinions about it. I'm not gonna put my flag down on the ground and throw a fit that we still allow this, because I understand the complexity of it, but one thing I don't love is the idea that, like, I feel like administration, I don't know the logistics of it, so maybe Pam can clarify, but I feel like there's probably other procedures that happen in a high school that maybe faculty don't agree with, but if administration has the authority to say this is like an attendance policy, for example. I guess I just don't love the feeling that, well, the faculty don't like it, so we cannot make it happen, because I feel like, well, you know, maybe there's a little bit more to it than that. But yeah, it sounds like, I mean, if we really care about this enough, we might have to take it to the school board, but that was my thought.
Well, just really quickly, just to remind people who weren't here last year, one of the big issues that we were concerned with was if students were asked to do something where they had to get on the internet and they weren't allowed to, or they didn't have a phone. But the one-to-one laptops took a lot of that, to me, that was one of the biggest worries is if my student needs to do something online, they need to do it on a safe school computer. And now that there's that one-to-one laptop, I haven't heard as much worry about that. So I'm hoping that that is still feeling like the right thing and like it's working for everyone.
That should be even more reason that the faculty aren't depending on personal devices in the classroom. So I'm confused why faculty are so adamant about it.
I would not use the word adamant. But I would say
You said like, this cannot.
No, and I will say as someone who's worked here long enough, and I still feel like a baby here, so feel free to correct me. Someone who's worked here long enough and knows how as someone who started Connections, I understand how difficult it is to start a new thing. But I would also say that for the teachers who are opposed, they are not opposed because, oh, I just want my kids to fill up their time with whatever. They have a tool that they use that is either most effective on cell phones, and they have a way around it for kids who, because the teachers who are saying this, they are good teachers. They have reasons, and they have found tools that work best in that avenue. And now, if you want me to dig in deeper into those specific instances, I mean, I think that's something we can look into. But based on preliminary data that we found so far, and because like I said, there's so much buy-in needs to happen based on all the people who've said that they've carried these kinds of things out. Although I will say nobody has carried anything out that puts a stipulation on teachers that I've seen. I have not seen any policy that puts a stipulation on teachers, specifically.
Here,
Sean?
there's
Anywhere.
plenty in other.
I haven't, if you can send me some. The only ones please, I haven't seen any though that in the procedure specifically say what teachers cannot do. And if you can send me ones with examples, I would like to ask them about that, because all the ones I talked to did not include that language. And even then, still had to talk about the amount of buy-in that had to happen for teachers, if that makes sense. I'm gonna give this to Sean.
Yeah, I just love to really quick comment on this. So in the one-to-one devices, it has definitely helped me as an educator to make sure that my students do have access to those online tools that I previously was relying on cell phones for. However, in all of my classes, there is no less than 3 or 4 students that will forget their laptop on any given day. And among the students that do bring it, half of them will have their laptops die sometime during a class if they don't remember their charger. Also, it also becomes a problem. So for me, I've been using the cell phone as kind of more of an equity tool in that for all of these students that, oh, I don't have my laptop, I don't have my technology, I don't have the ability, now I can still participate even if it's on my phone.
I think Lynette is the messenger of information to us and then information back to SIC. That's an SIC developed committee. And we're really, really glad that that work is being done. It helps all of us to have communication going back and forth to be more smooth, and we can keep working on these issues. So, you know, you're gonna take stuff back to SFC next week, right? Sure will.
And just a couple of things that we think about. One is not just, when we talk about electronic devices, there's also a lot of smart watches. Okay, so how that's going to be regulated as well as phones. And the other is when whatever procedure is determined, when that's abused or not followed, the repercussions from that. Because confiscating an electronic device, a personal electronic device, puts a liability on the school and the district that I think is beyond what many have considered. And I have a real concern about that side of the equation.
Yeah, that is something that's come up in our committee as well that we're concerned about. That's very stressful.
We probably need to move on after this one.
So if the policy as written is a no-go, which it sounds like that's what I'm hearing from the subcommittee from SIC, right, as written, that part of it will never pass. Then I guess my question is, what are we to do next as an SCC? Do we need to come up with a new policy to send to SIC, or is it dead? Is it like, what's our role next?
You should make a motion to ask them to bring a proposal back, like using ours. How would you like it to be received? And then
So they're working on it.
so you're bringing a new policy for us to look at.
Well, procedure.
So currently, our goal as the committee has been to look, and there's three possibilities. There's a possibility that we say, wow, that SCC proposed procedure is perfect for our school. Let's take it to SIC and they can vote on it and they love it. Perfect. That's one option. One option is this SCC proposed procedure does not work. We're gonna take it to SIC. We're gonna meld some things and we're gonna take it to SIC and see if that works. And then the third option is we don't like this at all and we actually think what we have right now is fine. And so at this point, we're pursuing that middle option. Because again, based on the data, it seems like teachers would like something that is more clear in the procedure. And that's where we're going, but we're gonna take that to SIC first because those kinds of things are voted on in SIC first, because that is like, from what I've heard, that's what needs to happen with policy like this that affects teachers on a day-to-day basis. But again, I'm not at all like that anymore.
Thanks, Lynette. I appreciate the work that you're doing. And I am grateful you advocate for what the facts are. And I think our role as parents have an important voice in that. And I do understand that it's convenient and efficient to use special devices, but sometimes you sacrifice that for a different priority. I did want to say I appreciate it.
Well, and I appreciate your input, and I promise I've brought that into the equation. It has been discussed quite a bit.
So is there a timeline on when you think a middle proposal could be expected?
So I'll tell you, I have a middle proposal that I'm going to be showing SAC next week. I'm just not comfortable showing it yet. Yes, so hopefully next month there will be a middle proposal for us to actually.
And I hope you know, we want our kids to listen to you. We want, what we want is to them to learn from you. It's not
Quit
to
disrupting us.
or to put an undue burden on you. We truly want our kids learning everything you have prepared for them and have to tell them. So just, I hope you know it's coming from a place where we respect and appreciate everything you're doing.
Absolutely, and this has sat on my mind a lot because I feel just the validity and the intensity from all the sides, and it's just a difficult path to navigate. So we're trying.
Thank you for being the messenger and for
Thanks,
working so hard on this for us all. Thank you. Okay, next up we have Sarah, TSA report.
Do I need a mic, right? I can talk really loud. It's gonna be a short one. So PTA right now is mainly working on Friendsgiving. We're providing gift cards and pies to 50 families. And then we also have a committee working on our Sub for Santa drive with student support services as well. And then we will be providing cookies at the Winter's Dance and working on our first teacher appreciation as well. So that's what we have going on. Any questions?
Okay.
I have a random.
Yes.
The banners that are on the west side,
Yes, so we ask that.
thank you, ma'am, right?
Yeah.
Is that PTA that does those?
Wish, no.
No, who does that? I thought it was PTA.
I haven't seen it.
What does it say?
They say East High and they hang on the light poles.
So all of the
Like
east side
northwest.
banners are tattered and look like crap and.
The northwest to about 15th west. And years ago, I thought it was PTA that did them. And they've all, I don't know if they look like they've been vandalized.
Yeah.
Every single one is ripped up, torn up, tied up in the power lines. And
Are these the long?
Yes, ma'am.
And you're saying they're on 15th
every,
west?
they're ninth west to about 14th to 15th
And do they
west
just say east
on
side?
California Avenue. Yes, and they've been there for years and it's great, but they
And
look,
need to be redone. I was asking around.
they're so past looking.
So there's some new awesome golf banners outside on our corner right here. Okay, so
The teams do that.
how do we, so I need to talk to the coach for that or whatever?
Most of the teams use a company that does banners.
And they
We
have a
just need to
booster
get a
banner.
bid. Some companies gonna go, oh yeah, we did those 10 years ago.
But the ones that say east, somebody is responsible for those. And years ago, it was PTA.
It might have been.
So
It might have been
I just,
Oh, we haven't done it for
who's
years.
responsible for those now and how do we get those?
replaced, is that?
Whoever has the money.
Yeah.
I'm not behind the money.
From your money tree, will you let us know?
At a minimum, we can get them down.
I'll let you know if
Let's
anyone's.
take them down to start.
But I don't want them to come down and
Unless there's
to
a
never
plan.
be replaced.
Right.
So that that's, you know.
Did they just
start
start
looking
looking
bad
bad
no banners.
recently?
They've been looking bad for
Years, probably at least the first year I started there. It would be great if they looked.
I know.
Why don't
they
we have
do
some of
those?
those golf banners down there, or, you know, like we're marketing some of that stuff up here around the school here, and it looks awesome and amazing. It would look awesome and amazing to have some of those things down in the Glendale neighborhood where a majority of our students come from. So, like over 60% of our students come from that neighborhood. So,
And
kids
it
be
just-
proud and sailing our flags down there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
So
the
just-
idea.
My question, I'm just trying to figure out who has ownership of those and can we get them replaced? I don't want them to come down and lift go back. Is my other.
The problem is probably what she does, so then it's likely you want ownership to who's going to pay for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not because of that.
But they did belong to somebody at some point.
It may have been PTA years ago.
I think it was years ago.
I'm wondering if there are enough teams, Sterling Scholar, et cetera, where they put those banners up that they could kind of like divide. Because I know that some kids aren't recognized. There's not enough banner, real estate around here. So if it is coaches or advisors who are doing those flags, can they just direct their efforts there?
I love that idea, because again, we go back to equity. My daughter that graduated a couple of years ago, she was Sterling Scholar, and we lived deep in the west side, but her picture was portrayed beautifully for the school. But it was not in the neighborhood that she came from, and that would be amazing.
Well, and I know that a couple years ago, at least, they didn't do them at all for Sterling Scholars. So, and I think the reason was, again, they're just like, weren't enough places to display all the things.
Well, this is the thing, I think what happens is a parent takes ownership of it. A parent will say, like, I know I've done it for the lacrosse team, we went our senior boys, it was the first time we ever did it when I was a senior. And a parent just decided, let's do it. So if you have a Sterling Scholar kid and you're a parent who has a Sterling Scholar kid, I don't think there's money in the budget for that kind of thing. As far as I know there's not with the PTA.
So once you get a bid,
They are very expensive, I will tell you, they're pricey, right? They're like over $100.
They're expensive.
So whenever
we have a couple places.
yeah, when you're talking about replacing them down the west side, I don't know how many there are, but they will be expensive.
Why don't I go down and I will count up how many there are, and then we can get a bid for the price and just see if there's anywhere that we could find funds to do something like this, and then I can at least report back with what that might cost, and I'll do that in the next meeting.
And there's a like Glendale every Friday too, so I'm happy to count those as well.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah, we've had a lot of conversation about it. They're so tired.
Yeah, if you would have let me know how many, I'm happy to make some phone calls and get some prices for what they cost. And then we can talk about that the next meeting. See if there's anywhere that we could find money. Okay, thank you, Sarah.
Yep.
Moving on, we have our SIC, Lena, so she is going to talk about some new course applications that will be going forward and then give us an update on SIC.
Yes.
Thank you. You want to do mine? Yes.
I made copies. I'm not sure I made enough copies. I tried to summarize what each course is about. The SIC has approved the following courses, and I will go over a description of each. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask questions. These are copies that are coming. The first course is AP Computer Science A. This is a course for programming and software development, CT pathway. This course will complement the existing AP Computer Science Principles course. This will allow our students to continue exploring college level computer science classes. This is a year-long course. It earns 1.0 credit towards graduation, and it can be science electives degree or digital literacy credit. Another course is investing and wealth management. This course is designed to teach students the basics of investment and finances. Topics will cover compound interest, risk analysis, financial statement analysis, asset valuation, and so on. This is a semester course, and it earns half an elective CDE credit. Another course is retailing. This course will prepare the students to operate businesses that sell, rent, or lease goods and services. The course will provide insight into the theory and application of merchandise or service assortment, pricing, promotion, store layout, customer service activities, and so on. The students will get real-world hands-on experience by helping with the school store. This is the spot. This is another semester course that will earn 0.5 elective CDE credit.
Elena, can I pause you for just a moment? There are copies of this. What I just passed out are like the individual classes. I don't know where the copies that you brought me are. How many did you bring? Are they somewhere else? I just have the.
But it's individual ones, all right.
It's not the individual ones. This is where the stack is of big copies. I'm missing a stack of all of these that she's talking about.
Are these the ones underneath?
Oh, there they are. Okay, great. Yay. Okay, now we're in this. I'm so sorry, everyone. I mean, I apologize. I didn't have those. Do you mind sharing? Okay, this will list everything. I'm so sorry. Okay. Okay, maybe keep going as where you are, and then maybe we can kind of look over the ones that you have previously spoken of. I'm so sorry.
Another one is Introduction to Data Science. This is a new course that the state of Utah is piloting this year. This course is an alternative for secondary math 3. This course will also count as a prerequisite for a concurrent math 1040 course. The students will reason and make sense of data using the statistical problem solving process. The emphasis will be the emphasis of this course will be on using modeling approach. This is a year-long course, and it earns 1 full elective math credit. We also approved 2 choir courses, barbershop. This is a beginning choir course for students. The students will learn music theory as well as practice sight singing, music literacy, ear training. It's a year-long course. earning 1.0 elective credit. And then pop choir is a class for students who enjoy singing and music, but do not necessarily want to perform classical style music. This is another course that earns 1.0 elective credit. Yes.
What classes were not approved? Were there a lot?
We have one class that has not been approved and one class that is pending.
Are you allowed to tell us what those are?
I don't know what the rules are.
I guess I'm asking if there was a youth court request.
There was.
And that one wasn't approved.
This one is pending. Okay. We have asked our administration to work with the district, and one of our assistant principals is in contact with the district personnel. There is an issue with, I have been told, S3 board policy, so we need to make sure that this particular course follows the district policy. As soon as we know more, I will let you know.
There's a question up here. That's already been approved.
Hands on.
Yeah, but when kids tried to sign up, each one of them was told that they were talking. My daughter said, "It's not good," and they're talking amongst themselves. There was a lot of confusion. And somehow it was not done because there was no interest. So I think
This is one thing. This is one thing.
One thing, yes, the class has been approved and the registration is coming up. So if you would like, we would like the class to carry, but we cannot do that unless we have students who sign up for the class.
how many?
It depends. We are looking at average class sizes for other courses. Usually with a new course like that, we are willing to carry the course with a lot less students than other courses. Give this new course a chance, like
20?
Wait, no, 10, 12.
Ten, is that what you said? It depends on the course. I don't want to like,
Yeah.
but it's
But they need a
half,
goal.
half.
How many-
goal? Yeah.
Yeah, 10 to 15 students probably.
Hannah would like to.
Some of them are seniors and half of them should I like 20? Because I don't know.
Like, do you want them to all come and register together so they're not all individually with only one register? And then
I don't think you can go as a group and register. We do have a counselor here. The counselors will hold the student by grades. Am I correct?
I couldn't hear what you were saying, sorry.
Registration for students. Yeah, registration for students. There was a question whether a group of students need to come to the counselors and request that they be put in a certain class. And I was just saying that the counselors will do the registration probably by grade.
Right.
So you just make sure that your friends or anybody who is interested in taking this class request the class. And then we have them.
What we've done in the past is in December, we'll have registration. I was going to report on that. We'll do our incoming 10th, 11th, and 12th graders registration mid-December. We'll have a registration meeting first to present all the materials. The course catalog will be on our website. We have last year's course catalog, but we'll have this year's course catalog soon. We do a big presentation for the informational part of it, and then we bring you back into small groups by counselor and by grade level. So we take one full day for each of the grade levels. There shouldn't be anybody saying things like what you said. I'm disappointed that anybody would say that. I can't imagine a counselor ever saying it. Is it students that are saying to each other, you're the only one signing up?
No, I was told that I was the only person, not that there was just enough. I was just told that I was the only person that signed up for it.
but when I asked other students who actually have proof that they signed up for it.
Right. Was it after the fact that it wasn't during the registration process, but after the fact, somebody came up to you and said, oh, you're the only one that signed up, or?
It was when I was registering for my classes and I wanted to have.
I'd like to know who that is privately maybe, and I can address that with them, because we shouldn't be doing that. It doesn't sound like something we would do, but that's what you heard. That's what you heard. I'm not promising to hear that.
There were like more than like 10 kids who signed up for the class. Should I aim for more of a higher number?
I say as many as are interested.
Okay.
100 of them. You know,
Let's have 2 sections.
yeah, I think it's great. It's a great course, and we'd love to carry it. It's decided by SIC what carries, not counselors.
Just to clarify the question on that class, this should be core credit for math, not elective. These replacement secondary 3 and secondary 3 is required math class.
That's correct, but we have been told that it's not math credit, it is elective. The students need to opt
It should be
out.
math.
Okay.
They do have to opt out, you're correct.
Exactly. So we have been told that if they opt out, then this is elective. But again, please, yes, thank you. Thank you.
Other question?
We need our approval.
I think we actually do need to go on this. Yeah. So I'd like to make motion that we approve the classes that are going to be added to the curriculum as they were presented to us.
Yeah, they're talking about intro to data.
We vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, so those of you, so I will sign those. Those of you that have the staples, you just give them to me at the end of the meeting and I'll quick sign them for approval. Okay, moving, thank you. Moving on, Mark.
Yeah, I'll be brief. We use the school community council as the advisory. And so that's a requirement that we have. So one of the reasons why there's always a counselor on here, because we want your and need your input as parents, but we also want and need students' input. And so I would encourage us to invite students, since they can't be members of it, is to still invite to this meeting, and however that looks, I would be joyful. I've thought of some students myself that I've invited, so thinking that they could be members, but now knowing that they can't be actual members, to me, it doesn't matter. I'd love to hear their input and have us consider it. I also wondered if is it appropriate for somebody here who knows what you're trying to accomplish on this cell phone policy procedure? Would it be appropriate to have them answer questions in SIC if they just came there and just answer questions about why they feel so passionate about that, or is that not procedural?
I think that would be a fabulous thing for a student advisory group for us to say, hey, all of us are really curious about these 4 things.
Right.
Would you come at lunch or come to the meeting and share? And I think that would be a great first thing even. I like it.
We love student input and parent input in the counseling centers. Here's what we're doing. We've just finished up our senior CCRs, our college and career readiness meetings. That's an individual meeting. We're doing our juniors right now. So first term seniors, second term juniors, third term sophomores, fourth term we're finishing up the 9th graders at Cassidy, who has the biggest load of all of us, is doing all year long. So Cassidy is doing her annual meetings all year long. What she doesn't get to because of her heavy load, we try to clean up in the 4th term as counselors that go through 10th through 12th grade. So Cassie is our 9th grade counselor. The other counselors do 10th through 12th grade by alphabet.
And I've been doing all my classroom CCRs for the last 2 weeks. So they're getting group lessons already about all the stuff that's required to graduate.
And I would just say to you that East High School, thanks to I think town or maybe you guys, maybe SIC, they funded a position for Cassidy. So that has reduced our load. So we are the only school that I know of in the state that does individual meetings with every student on all 4 grade levels. So we work really hard to do. So keep that in mind. please come to them. Here's my question to you. We send out invitations via email. Is that how it working? Yeah. So,
It didn't work. I got it.
okay.
I'll be there.
Okay.
I got the participation. I had a different student today.
Okay. So if you have feedback for me, please send that to me via email. My email's on there. We'd love to make that work better for you so that, I mean, we used to mail them out. And I don't know, I don't check my mail too much. So we quit doing that during COVID. We went entirely to email. So if you feel you have some ideas on that, send me an email. Let me know what those are. Any questions of me? Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
You're
And
welcome.
thank you for the individual meetings. That is hugely important. I really, really like that. Okay, Pam, you have to mention personal report.
Okay, you guys, I know that time is going by. Okay, I'm gonna give you a choice. We can do a quick talk about attendance, and there's not a policy, so I crossed that off of my paper. There is a board policy about attendance, and part of the policy is pay attention to your kids. Know when they're coming to school, know when they're not. And something that we wanted to do last year, and that our attendance policy has, our attendance committee, has kind of pivoted to, is to do celebrations for students who are attending and to motivate students to come to school more. And so I'm gonna let Cassie, because I get to choose, and then I'll do my slides, to give you our attendance committee's little update on some of the celebrations we're planning for students.
Hot topic. So things that we're working toward, we're meeting next Wednesday. We've already pushed this out that we're moving to the incentive side of attendance and flipping that activity hold, no, you can't participate, to, oh, you get to participate because you have good attendance. So we'll be doing a term 1 party for students that have perfect attendance, no absences, no tardies. And then starting the week after Thanksgiving, in Connections class will push out a new system that we have, where we'll be doing random attendance checks in classes. So we'll get on the PA, make that announcement, this is an attendance check. If your student is in their seat on time, then they get a Beast Buck for being there. From that, they can choose what to do with the Beast Buck. For some students, that Beast Buck is super, motivating, and they'll spend it at the spot and they're excited about it. For a good chunk of our students, that's not motivating, but a grade level party is motivating. So then teachers within those individual classrooms can decide if they have individual parties for their classes. Students can put their Beast Bucks, fill up a jar within those classrooms. Teachers can come up with individual incentives within their classrooms, or we'll have big containers that are visible for everyone to see in the common area over here, that students can take their Beast Buck, put it in those clear containers. When a grade level fills it up, they get a grade level party during Connections. So hopefully motivating attendance a little bit more. We're still being strategic in what this looks like. So that's kind of where we're moving to right now.
Do you have any questions for that, about that?
Yes, I have a question. You need a mic. I need a microphone. I can't hear you.
All right, okay, so just to be clear, the attendance procedures that we started at the beginning of the year are on hold still. They're on hold. We are not doing any of those things. We're just trying to address board policy about attendance anyway, and trying to do the right thing to help students.
Because I don't think anyone in the school or parent would say that attendance doesn't matter, right?
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to have their student in a seat. So how do we have a tier 1 system that makes this work for all of our students, right?
Yes. Go ahead.
So just to clarify, the negative kind of reinforcement activity hold is not happening currently.
Exactly.
So
for about a month and a half.
is that in response to the federal investigation?
That is, I'm not sure, but I do have some experts back here.
I did make a grammar request to the district. I do have the file about the federal investigation regarding the attendance policy. And I do know that this school was given this big long list of things that they need to send to the Office of Civil Rights. And on that, it included a list of every student on activity hold, plus I think it was asked to be formatted as an Excel spreadsheet that had their name, their home language, a bunch of things, grade level. And I do know that pretty linearly you can say that this was sent out to the superintendent on September 27th. And then at our meeting, right before our last SCC meeting, I was told.
What was sent out?
Oh, sorry, this was sent to the district. I grammar requested this, but if you want it, I can give it to you. This.
Are you looking for a date?
But I'm asking, you said specifically that all students, the designation has been removed. What does that mean? Does that mean like?
We had in Power School, there was a field that would populate if students missed too much or whatever the parameters were, and our district IT people set that up, and it's turned off.
Okay, but
So
you still,
so
you still do have a list of every student who was placed on activity hold?
Why, what's your?
I'm
what's the
asking,
point?
was the designation removed from all students?
Yes.
Okay, despite the OCR asking for a list of all students on activity hold.
When people asked for that, it was still available on the computer.
Okay.
In our system through IT.
Okay, that's what I'm
But then
asking.
it was stepped back, and now it is not there.
So the activity hold is not happening because of the federal investigation.
I think some parents complained as well. So I think there was several things that came to my people over there on the table that had us thinking about pulling it back, and we did.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, rewards, that's what we're trying to do. And any questions about that? Also, Lynette and the student government helped to make like 1,500 beast bucks, which is hard. They helped make them so that.
So actually like 3,000, so we're ready for several weeks.
So they're ready, so we're ready to do some of those checks.
This is a solid system this time.
I just want to say that I love that you're going to the positive. I can't tell you how much that means to me. Thank you so much for your work. I know Xerox copying these books is a pain.
They have to put a stamp on it.
Yes, I know. I get it.
Okay.
I was a teacher, but I have one more question for you. Are you planning to bring the attendance policy back with the activity hold?
It is not up to me. I am not, what I'm planning is to do positives and to send out attendance letters and to kind of go back to the traditional things that are laid out in our board policy. It's already there. So that's what we're doing.
Attendance matters.
I know.
Chronic truancy too. Like, so how do we get kids in their seats? Because that's so important.
Did you want to?
No, I was wondering how the security checks, if the bus drops them off at 8:40 and there is like 20, people that have to take everything off of their backpacks and they have to be class.
You know what, we should have put the security check-in system on the agenda, but since it isn't, let a couple of us talk about that. It's getting better. It's not too bad, but let's talk about that and put it on the agenda for next time for a kind of a formal check-in.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like it.
Yes.
I just want to say, regardless of whatever's going on with the federal investigation, whatever, I loved the attendance policy or procedure or whatever you want to call it. I thought that it was a great way to make students accountable for their attendance. I think it would just bring great benefits, and I think it's okay and admirable to actually hold our students accountable, help teach them to be responsible. I feel like it had plenty of inclusions to accommodate for exceptions, and I feel like it was implemented in a way that's very fair, and I just want to point that out as my perspective, that maybe it's not the same as others, but that I loved it, and I hope it comes back.
Someone that hasn't, we have one more comment of someone who hasn't talked, because we need the Sharp survey, we've been waiting for this for 2 months. You guys have to do it, you guys. One more comment. Yeah.
Perfect attendance. Is that with excusals or just?
Yes.
Moroni.
Excusals.
Moroni, sorry.
Sorry.
I live in Utah. You can't. Can't escape it.
Yeah, I'll be quick. I don't know about this policy, okay? And it's like Nazi to me. And it's not motivating. And so if, I guess we're making comments here, I absolutely am against this. And I like the idea about motivating our kids, but perhaps punishing them for not showing up to class may not be the right way to go.
And that's why we're not doing it, so that's good.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, first of all, the our sharp survey report for Utah is this right here. And before I realized how, I was like, maybe I'll make some copies. I'm not making copies, but this is how to access it. It is very, very interesting and good reading. So I want you, because I'm only giving you a tiny slice, and then you have to look at it because you'll like it. Yeah. Oh, and it's right here too, if you can reach it from here. I just wasn't sure if it would show for everyone. So go ahead and grab that. And remember, the state of Utah does this every 2 years. There's several grades that are tested, but it's not very many. It's like 6, 8, 10, and 12. And just so we didn't have a huge group of students taking it this year, but it's still plenty. I think we have some good data. Okay, ready?
And I
Everyone
really
ready?
think this is why we need to like maybe market and push it out in the future, because the results of this survey drive policy for education. It drives our suicide prevention lessons, our vaping lessons, and it's really meaningful information. So, and student safety is part of that.
Yes, it is.
Responsibility. So this is important to all
Well,
of us.
and if we feel like one of our greatest needs this year, so yeah, I think it's the lens of greatest need, and you'll see. Okay.
Well, and it's anonymous too, so students can report honestly about what they're seeing, what's going on for them, what's going on for their friends. So
great. So this is just a couple of things, and this is in the front of the report. Once you read it, you'll see it. It says the statewide numbers that participated this year, which were way less than 2 years ago, and our students who participated as well, which is less than I would have wanted. But there's still some good data. That bottom part just basically says what Cassie said. We have good data, and we can compare to federal and not federal, to our state in a lot of ways. Here are 8 things that are measured in the SHARP survey. And the charts are about substance use, antisocial behavior, community and school climate and safety, social and emotional health, substance-related indicators, physical health and safety, risk factor profiles, and protective factor profiles. Protective things are things that help students get through hard times. And even though maybe life is hard for them, they have protective factors in their family and their community that help them. Let me show you your first chart after this. Oh, so in the chart, there are bars that are us. They're kind of light yellow bars. The dots are state level data. The diamonds are national data. And then there's a norm that's been developed over a long time to help us look at ourselves compared to federal data. And it's called the Bach-Harrison norm measure. And this will make more sense when you see a chart. Okay, here's a chart. This is students' perceived importance of school. And they're asked, and again, you got to look at this, but so students who answered always or almost always, for how do you feel that schoolwork, how often do you feel the schoolwork you are assigned to is meaningful and important? Now thinking back over the past year in school, how often did you enjoy being in school? How important do you think the things you are learning in school are going to be for you in later life? So those are 3 questions about school, and you see our bars, and you see the dots, which are state level. So, and notice the scale. So some of the scales go up to 100%. Some of them only go to 50% when our bars are so tiny they wouldn't even show up. So 10th grade, 12th grade, all students who indicated something on each. So those are our 2 grades. And you notice that it's interesting how sometimes 12th graders are really different than 10th graders, and sometimes they're not. And in the state, it looks like students around the state scored that a lot higher. Like they felt like work was more important than our kids. That's what those dots up higher mean. Make sense? And I'm really not going to give you very many of these, but just a few so you get a flavor. This is another positive thing, positive school environment. And these are students 10th and 12th talking about getting involved with sports or clubs, chances to talk to a teacher one-on-one, chances to be part of class discussions or activities, feeling safe at school, and my teachers praise me when I work hard, when I work hard at school. So notice, and this is something really important that we've been really struggling to develop, is we have almost all of our students saying, yep, I can be involved. There's a lot to do, there's a lot of clubs, there's things I'm interested in. Really a ton, I mean, and notice we're even higher than the state average on a little bit there. Students feeling like they can talk to a teacher, really, really high. So this shows a lot of protective factors for our students. This helps them to be supported in their lives. That's what this chart means.
That means they have trusted adults.
And trusted adults, right?
Question.
Yes.
There's a red flag that I see about safety.
Yep. Me too. Me too.
And a big reason that students report that they don't feel safe is because of attendance issues, because there's students in the bathroom and there's students in the hallway. The two places that students report that they don't feel safe are the bathrooms and the hallway. So again, attendance matters.
And when students are in the bathroom and they're not in class and some other students go in, they go, oh my gosh. And those students are missing out, obviously, that are in other parts of the school where they shouldn't be. Okay, you ready? This is about depression. So I put a couple of slides in. I know we talked about this a little bit. So students were asked to report high depressive symptoms, moderate depressive symptoms, no depressive symptoms, or feeling sad or hopeless for 2 weeks or more in a row during the past year. Sad or hopeless. This is another 100-point scale. So we've got 35% of our 10th graders saying two weeks, solid. So if a student is having some feelings like this or worries, and look at the moderate, I mean, we have 60% of our students almost who are saying, yes, I'm moderately depressed, and they give some examples. So this is a place where some of those supportive people in the school or whatever can help them to get help or to talk or whatever. So they're kind of, it's a balance.
And then also on our school social emotional survey last year that students took, students indicated on self-awareness that they all or never or sometimes, very few said always, have coping skills to deal with stress and like mental health issues. So that's something that we'll then address in connections classes as well.
This is students saying what they thought they needed in terms of mental health help. Big, big stuff here. To meet high treatment needs. 25%, 20 to 25% of our students are saying, I need this big stuff, big help. Moderate and low treatment. So we have a lot of students, and look at our 12th graders. Look how much higher that is than the state. So our kids are struggling with a lot of things. We know this. We talked about COVID. We talked about the things that have really impacted all of us. We have to continue to pay attention to students, even if they don't tell us. If you know a student and you can tell something's wrong with them, it's important as teachers and as parents that we talk to them. Okay, state identified priority substance use, alcohol, marijuana, and prescription drugs. It's our favorite thing right here. So alcohol is on the left. Lifetime use, or the past 30 days, is the difference in the first three and the second three. Should have a pointer thing. Marijuana, lifetime use, past 30 days. Prescription drugs, everything together. And I think it lists out all the different things. Lifetime and past 30 days, which is lifetime. Meaning for a lot, like not just in the past month, but in forever. Have you used marijuana ever in your life? Yes, or that kind of thing. So however long that means for people. So
40%. So 40% of the students at least.
We took that.
that took the survey.
40%.
10, yeah, it's a little lower for 10th graders. It's 31% about. And the actual numbers are down here. so you don't have to guess on the scale. So when we talk a lot about these things in health class and connections and everything about why to not do these things, but yeah.
This might be a little bit unrelated to this specific discussion, but for the all, for the statewide, it seems like the all should always be between the 10 and 12%. But for the statewide numbers, all was not always between them. I'm just trying to understand.
You know, when you get the like 150 page report, it does talk about some things that impact how this is laid out on the chart. So I think some of that is definitely there, and it's worth reading. It's really good. So I would read it.
Thanks.
Okay. Cigarettes and vaping. We know this is an issue. We've done some good surveying of our own students, which we have way more students participating than this. Cigarettes are on the left, again, lifetime. So you've ever smoked a cigarette. And the past 30 days, vaping, that's a lot compared to the past 30 days. So maybe people try and go, man, that's the worst thing ever. Vaping nicotine or vaping marijuana, lifetime or 30 days. So we definitely have some work to do.
Pam, my eyes aren't so good, but this is, the top line is 50%.
Yes. And
Okay,
that's-
so that,
yeah,
it's not
so-
as bad.
No, but still, like 30,
Right.
32 or 33% is like, oh my gosh.
That's 37.
But there's still a lot of students.
Yeah.
Um,
290.
250 or something.
Out of 2,000.
It's, well, it's only 10th and 12th, and it was, we had parents give permission during registration. It's in part of the things to do like 2 different tests.
How many?
So students, parents who missed that or didn't give permission couldn't take it. So we could have had more, but it wasn't a ton.
So at Glendale, we had at registration, a table for every parent to come to and opt out if they didn't want their student to take it. So we had more participation at Glendale. So it would be interesting to see how that compares to East too.
So wait, every student whose parent did not opt them out took it.
No, this was signed in here. They made it opt in.
Yes, you had to say,
yes,
it's
oh,
okay.
gotcha, I see. Okay.
So I only gave you a few slides. There's a ton of information here. It's very helpful. And like Cassie just said, a lot of funding from our county, from the state. You can write really good grants based on, here's a need that we have. And you have really solid, good data that's believable. These guys have been doing this for a long time. It's good. It's good data. It gets you money. But anyway, what are next steps or takeaways? I thought, really, we probably need to do this in the next meeting, because as we think about this year's funding, you know, what's going to stay the same, what's changed. I mean, we started thinking about this last year and we thought about it a long time. And I just want to throw this in as, I think this is a good thing to think about. And we could just say, this is why we need another counselor. We feel like, you know, it could be that simple, or we could be really creative and come up with something else that we'd like to do this year as part of our plan. But I would love for everyone to look at this, and maybe next month we could just circle back to it and see if we want to have some discussion. Sure. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate you all coming and staying so long. Now it's the basketball meeting.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for staying. And this was shorter than last time, so I'm happy with that.
Can I make a quick motion to Jennifer's our parliamentarian?
Yes, and
And I'll second that motion.
All right, of course. I agree.
All in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you. Nope. Well, yes. Second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming, everyone. Have a good night.
Discuss.
Yeah, that's open funds.
So.
Here's the sign-in.
Yeah, I have this little
And that
form.
number is
And
from
it's-
the last few years. There was a lot of and that your teachers need their own.
So, the red line is bad with the banks. It has not made.
That's one of the ways that you're pretty good. But there's very and so that was so
Yeah. We're sitting there, I live right by Dave.
I know that.
I live right next to it.
I mean, they're not.
So now you live over by the kid. So you know, the Brentons, so Sally grew up across the street from me, on Brownie Circle.
I try to.
So when she was this in Utah,
Well,
she used to practice the piano like 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they were right across the street, they went directly across the street. And there was only 2 girls on the list. But so she would practice. And I haven't signed in yet. So during the summer, I'd sit up on the lawn and listen to her practice the piano many hours a day.
They moved. They moved. The person moved. Her daughter. How come I'm not seeing this?
Were you here when they voted for the new members?
No. So did I get voted out?
Possibly. You have another person too. So do you remember if you were from your second or your first year?
Probably the second.
Okay.
When you sign up.
I don't think you were here when you voted either. So
You are on here. Hold on. Right
you are
here.
that. I mean, I can't remember who was here. So we have somebody else who wasn't here when we did that. So I need to talk to Darren about that.
What am I signing?
Just doing, just so I know you were present.
All.
So when I say motion and approved by all,
Thank you.
I begin to talk about.
But so anyway, so I grew up across from her, and she was, I don't know if you knew, but she was Miss Utah. She went to the Miss American pageant, won Miss Congeniality, won the Talent Award, and was a finalist. And then I grew up with his brother.
What was her maiden name?
Peterson.
Peterson.
And he's got a younger brother my age that I grew up with, and then we were in the same ward for years. And so, yeah.
They are, well, they moved out of the ward.
Oh, did they?
And their kids all grew up and they sold their house.
They just moved to a smaller home.
We use
But,
a tool called Lance.
So, yeah, tremendous. I mean, tremendous family. Their daughter with a heart. And she was talented.
We just don't want to. Yeah, it's more than monitoring. They can send messages.
Yeah, you know,
So what's the issue with the fund?
I think
So
I
take the money. And it's just a loser.
So the banks, what they do is they got a loan or invest one of the assets. If they don't, then the regulators give them a bad rating. And if they get a bad rating, you know, they can't expand. You know, there's certain things they can do. So it's really difficult for you guys. But then they have to make donations.
Here's my understanding. Did you help write the original SCC procedure?
No.
I'm trying to find the procedure.
I did not.
Okay, thank you so
Sorry.
much.
So they make a donation. There's a rugby field in Harriman that science donated.
I'm familiar with the soccer field husband. I'm not familiar with the rugby.
Yeah, anyway, so they built it and they opened up, when it opened up, Scott got fired. So the board of directors, this is right, just like a week after they opened up. And Brent Beasley, who's, you know,
So that's what we need to clarify.
Scott, why you don't need money? That's on me. He says, well, the community. And the
Does that make sense? Because it wasn't like you're supposed to talk about it, like, hell no, how could that make it easy? I'm like, how do I know who did what?
Despite what
And, like,
Scott
if you
said,
have
What was he
these
fired
things-
for a week or so?
yeah, he was fired. But it was a message saying, look, don't waste our money. That's our money. That is the shareholder. But Scott saying, yeah, you want the regulars to shut us down?
And I know who was the people that.
And but then the third thing they do is that the employees have to do a certain amount of service, like 3 hours a month, you know, per you know employee, and that's just to keep the regulars away. So.
So the community involved.
Yeah, they're community involved because, you know, as the poor get poor, and the gap in funding wider, you know, there really isn't anything to be done. And the feds they feel better when they beat up the banks and threaten them to loan your money because you're gonna lose it, but loan it anyway. But so this is the problem I've been trying to solve for years. And so, you know, it is, you know, and it is a tough problem because
I got a solution.
I'm interested.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
I think that this actually might be a solution because it might actually come around and do this as well as a number of things. I've been thinking the whole time that in sports, I mean, you're a big sports guy, I'm a big sports guy. I mean, I've won the Christensen Kilo Award here at East High School years ago.
Which was that? What is that?
It's the all-round athlete.
Is that right?
But I played football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of fun. But, the first year that it was together, because of Christensen and Felix, when I died in a car accident, my brother-in-law was the same age. He was the first one to win Rich Fairbanks. But there's been more of my family that's been in that.
Yeah, that's cool.
I stopped
recording.
Because my
Dearie.
Yeah, I need to talk to you.
Oh, okay.
When